This is Derek Chamblee, broadcasting from Chamblee, Atlanta, the next great American city, Battleground Zero, the epicenter of the 2017 Civil Defense of the United States of America. Also the 5th Congressional District of our Congressman John Lewis, who our current president says is all talk and no action. This is Derek Chamblee, CyberCitizen Network, all talk, Trump, executive action. Also, Chamblee, Atlanta is the site of the Georgia 6th Congressional District. And as you know, last Tuesday, Karen Handel won the election over John Ossoff. And it's Monday, winding up on 7:30 in the evening, June 26th, 2017. Beautiful, beautiful, clear day today in Chamblee, Atlanta. And we're, of course, tracking there's so many breaking stories. The Nixon-Trump path, Supreme Court, the victory on his particular travel ban in the Supreme Court. And at any rate, we're also picking up on a lengthy article in NewYorkMagazine.com by Frank Rich. It was published yesterday, entitled Just Wait, and subtitle, Watergate Didn't Become Watergate Overnight Either. And a big photograph of Donald Trump posing with the double two-finger salute that imitating Richard Nixon before he got on the helicopter on the day that he resigned. And we'll pick up later in the article, quite interesting, basically, we'll start at the top. Quote, let others wallow in Watergate. We are going to do our job, unquote, said Richard Nixon. With typical unearned self-righteousness in July 1993. By then, more than a year had passed since a slapstick posse of 5 had been caught in a bungled burglary at the Democratic National Committee headquarters in the Watergate complex. It had been 9 months since Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein reported in the Washington Post that the break-in was part of a, quote, massive campaign of political spying and sabotage, unquote, conducted by all the president's men against most of their political opponents. Now the nation was emerging from 2 solid months of Senate Watergate hearings, a riveting cavalcade of White House misfits and misdeeds viewed live by 71% of the public. Even so, Nixon had some reason to hope that Americans would heed his admonition to change the channel. And it goes on that even though his public approval ratings were in the high 30s, similar to our current president Donald Trump's ratings, there was only 22%. Here it is. A Harris poll found that only 22% thought Nixon should leave office. It took another year, over a year, in August of 1974, that finally a clear majority, 57%, told pollsters they wanted the president to go home. That's quoting the article. At any rate, the article also points out that our current president has the control in the Republican Party of the House and the Senate, and of course he's got a lot of influence on this current Supreme Court as well. At any rate, his going on in the article, very interesting, but first, departing from that to follow up on the Democratic-controlled House and Senate back in the 70s during Watergate. very interesting that I believe it was the day before President Richard Nixon resigned, he made a phone call to Governor of Alabama, George Wallace, to see if George Wallace could still support him, and George Wallace said no, and I believe it was the same day that Arizona U.S. Senator Barry Goldwater met with Richard Nixon and said he just didn't have more than about 16 votes in the Senate to survive a House impeachment and a Senate trial. At any rate, later in the article, very interesting, in New York Magazine, published yesterday, at any rate, later in the article, it mentions Houdini, whether or not our current president, whether or not people were watching to see if former President Richard Nixon could escape Watergate. He had revived his career many times before: the famous 1952 Checker speech, the 1962 failed run for governorship of California, when he said, "This is my last press conference. You won't have Nixon to kick around anymore to the press." And in his 1968 campaign was viewed as the resurrection of Richard Nixon, and would he be able to escape Watergate like Houdini? Comparing our current president, Donald Trump, to former President Richard Nixon, and at this stage, he could very well escape this particular political situation. It says that impeachment really is a political, not legal thing, and escape it like Houdini. This is Derek Chamblee. Beautiful day in Chamblee, Atlanta, the next great American city, Battleground Zero, the epicenter of the 2017 civil defense of the United States of America. Nixon, Trump path, Houdini. And we want to add this too, that in his career, Houdini would seek out magicians that were fakes, and also seek out basically fortune tellers that were fake. He was well, we'll say Donald Trump. Donald Trump path, Houdini, master fake. Thank you very much.